Today we're going to be creating the negative space project. You will be adding stamps with words, but first we're going to do the background. On the first day, what you're going to do is paint the background and add the stenciling. Add at least 3 different stencils on there and take in consideration what your background color is going to be to make sure that that will show up. You might try to choose a lighter background. That'll make it a little bit easier when you go to paint the other color in. So that is on day 1. Day 2, you're going to be drawing in your shapes. You could do circles, that's what I'm going to do for the example, but I've had students do silhouettes of birds. You could do squares, triangles, any shape you want. So to do the shapes, all you're going to do is grab your Uniball pen. And I'm going to do circles today. So use your whole arm. And they don't have to be perfect, but you want to make them kind of big because by the time we add the paint in, like over here, that's going to take up some space and you'll have more of that on there than what you think when you get started. So make sure they go off the page, like I said. Make them in various sizes, some bigger, some smaller. And then we're going to go ahead and use acrylic paint and paint in the background. So I chose to do the purple. Think about how they'll go together on the color wheel. Some of these are a little bit thinner, so you might show through. So if you had a yellow background, you might not want to choose purple because it might turn out a little bit brown. So we are going to do 2 coats. That will help with this. So go ahead and do the one, let that dry, and then go over to your other page. And I would go around your shapes first. I kind of already started that over here. That way you're sure to keep the shape. Once you go around all the shapes, then you can go in and add the filler in between. When you go to do your second coat, you could add another color. I could add a little bit of pink in there. If I wanted to add a little blue in there, I could. There's already a lot of blue on here, so I might not do that. Go clear to the edge. Try to keep the line around your shapes pretty clean. Okay, and do 2 coats. That should take up most of the day. So that's on day 2. For day 3, the paint will be dry, so we're going to add the water-based oil pastels, and that's the ones that are in the green box. And I'm going to use neighboring colors again. So I had purple down, so I used a little bit of pink, and I've also used some of the light blue just to add some more texture in here. And I'll take this and I'll use a Q-tip, so I could go around here. Adding that in around some of these areas. And then use a Q-tip to kind of push that in and blend it in a little bit. This will help it stay on your page. It'll also blend into the background, which is what we're looking for this project. And you could also use another color in there. This one's quite a bit lighter, so it is going to show up. So light blue. But play around with that negative space in there to see what you can do for colors. You can layer them. Okay, so play around with that in the background. And then I also have ink for around the shapes. And I'm going to do a very loose line similar to what we've done before. Right here I have, that one's already done. Around there I'm going to do this other one. So try to load the brush, just the bristles. I have a little bit on the end there. And I try to form a tip if I can. I'm using my pinky to hold my brush up, so I'm just barely touching the tip on there. I'm going to make a loose circle. It might have several lines. I like a sketchier look when I'm doing that, so several lines around there. Trying to make one of them at least be the border in between that background and foreground. Okay, like that. And I would do that to all of my shapes. Once that's dry, if you choose to, you could add the glitter glaze. You can either use one of the little tiny brushes we use for watercolor, or you could use a toothpick too. So I might just use this. I'm going to go around here. Make sure this is dry. If it's still shiny, that means it's wet. But it does dry pretty quickly. So I'm just going to dot it along the black and then pull it through, if you can see that. And I'm using it just as an accent. Remember, you just want a little bit. If you use too much, it kind of takes away. You just want to have a little bit of an accent. Okay. So when that one dries, it'll look like this. Okay, the next part would be to add the stamps. If you're done early and we're not there yet, you could always do some doodling with the gel pens in this area if you'd like, or use colored pencil. You can accent that way as well.